So look, I finally did it. I finally uncovered the reason why the band Trapt gets crapped on so much. It's absolutely because they don't. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, music lovers, especially my rock music lovers. From toward the middle to end of 2002 all the way to the end of 2003, if you were to get in your car or turn on a radio in your garage or anything to your local rock station, you were guaranteed to hear the song Headstrong by the band Trapt. Frankly, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. These were some good times. This time in America, for me personally, and I'm sure for a lot of people, it was good times. You know, especially if you're in your teenage years, because that's when I think some of the best times happen. You know, you got George W. Bush, he was our president at the time. He was rolling into the second half of his first term, but you also had the world living in this very large shadow. It was just looming there. That being the 9/11 terrorist attacks that happened the year prior, 2001. Everybody remembers that. To be honest with you, it was a fresh wound at the time. And to this day, I gotta be honest, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. For those of us living in the United States at that time, we were closer than ever. It was no doubt people were very close after that happened. The thing was, it was a very, very big opportunity for the entertainment business to bring just ease to many people's pain. And they did just that, especially the music industry. In many ways, they did that. The thing was, whether it was music, TV shows, or movies, anything that could just take people's minds off reality, even if just for a moment, that was huge. Absolutely huge. Whether people liked it or not or want to agree, the song Headstrong by Trapt was absolutely huge. No doubt it was huge. Billboard had it at #1. Billboard gave it awards, best modern rock song, best mainstream rock song. And like I said before, you couldn't help but to hear it no matter where you went. It almost turned into somewhat of an anthem for many. Sporting events, movies, it was all over. And people were taking advantage of the song because of its status. There's a lot of people I respect on the platform YouTube, in my daily life, TV, television, anybody. There's a lot of people out there that I can admire and respect, and I take what they say to heart because most of the time they're accurate or it means something to me. But a lot of these people, I've heard them talk about the band Trapt in a negative light, that they're not good musicians, that they suck, that they're bad people, and I kind of had to stop and scratch my head and say, well, this is just more of a recent thing. Like I said before, a 4 or 5 year thing. Before that, I don't remember a lot of bad things being said about the band. Either you liked them or you didn't, but that was just about it. So that it wasn't their first album. 2002's self-titled Trapt was not their first album. It was their biggest album. They did have one back in 1999, Amalgamation. Now, I didn't even know that existed until I started looking into this topic a little bit more. And it's not bad. There's some songs on there that are pretty damn good. Sounds more like early Trapt from that first album, the one that we all know as their first album, which is actually their second album. But anyway, Headstrong and Still Frame off that first album, two of the biggest songs. For me personally, Still Frame, as much as I loved punk music or metal music in high school, I listened to some mainstream. I loved 3 Days Grace, I loved Godsmack, and I loved Still Frame by Trapt. The thing that I found pretty cool, to be honest with you, was the fact that half the guys in the band, when the band formed back in 1995, just prior to that, some of those guys, they were in a cover band. They were covering the band NoFX, which to me, I'm a huge NoFX fan. So listening to what they have now and people saying that their music sucks, well, obviously it's opinion, but the fact that they were covering one of the coolest skate punk bands of all time, I think it's pretty awesome. I think one incident that really set the wheels in motion for a lot of this hate was December 2020. This is when Twitter suspended Trapt's account, the band Trapt. They suspended their account mainly because Chris Brown, the lead singer, he sent out a series of tweets. In the end, it pretty much was depicted as he condoned statutory rape. Basically, he put a hypothetical situation out there where he would give a high five to any 15-year-old boy that had sex with a 25-year-old female teacher. So while we're doing this little research on Trapt, I was going through some old tweets, and I find it funny that they're classified as nu metal. I don't get that whatsoever. Somebody explain that to me, please. But going through a lot of these old tweets, I think I found a very good starting point for where the hate began for the band Trapt. So I've already explained to you what Twitter did in December of 2020 with suspending their account. But really, let's go back to the beginning of 2020. Me living in Texas, March 2020, that's when COVID, the regulations for the state and the country started to crack down, okay? We all lived through it. We're past it for now. But the thing was, President Trump was in office, and this guy, Chris Brown, the lead singer of Trapt, was a huge supporter. And he started a Twitter war with people on the fact of how much he supported Trump and Trump's decisions, closing off the borders, basically saying That's why we don't have as high a body count as you guys do in your countries. And you obviously had people in the States and people from other countries just going off on this guy, saying he's ignorant and don't know what he's talking about. But he never backed down. He stood his stance. He supported Trump. And he said some pretty crummy things to some people. So, I mean, listen, I got zero problem with him supporting our president at that time, Donald Trump. No problem with that. Even though not everybody did or agreed. I didn't agree with everything he did or said. Sometimes I believe he put his foot in his mouth. But this guy, Chris Brown, lead singer Trapt, huge supporter. But where I draw the line is the way he attacked the country of China, the Chinese people, the Chinese government, putting a lot of blame on them, which he wasn't the only one. But come on, man. Some of the things he was saying was pretty stupid. Attacking our African American community, Caucasian community, just literally attacking many people. He's putting that race card down full force. He didn't care what he said, how he said it to people. I don't know if the guy was on drugs or what he was on, but he was on one because he was not stopping. That whole year of 2020, that guy was on a roll in a Twitter war with anybody over anything, mostly dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. So when I think of Trapt and music by them that really was helpful to me, I think of their 2002 album, which was their second one, self-titled Trapt, 2005, Someone in Control, and then their album in 2008, Only Through the Pain. Because all of those had mainstream songs that, again, I heard on the radio all the time. I'm talking about songs like Contagious, Who's Going Home With You Tonight, Echo, Still Frame, and Headstrong from the first album. And then Stand Up from the second album. Their third album. I always forget about that 1999 album because I didn't even know it existed. But, again, I apologize to the Trapt fans. I'm not a huge fan. But they did have influential music on my life because they were the soundtrack to parts of my life. But I gotta be honest. I think they're good musicians. So I'm going to say something now, and I may be putting my foot in my mouth, but again, when it comes to negative comments or people disagreeing with me or having something bad to say about me, I don't care. I try to tell my wife that all the time. Don't worry about what other people think. They don't matter. Nobody else matters in your life unless we're there to help each other or somebody's there to encourage you or you encourage them. If it's anything negative, get that shit out of your life. For me, someone like me, it's easy. Nobody bothers me. For my wife, somebody like her, it's hard because she really wants everybody to like her. That just shows that we're all different. When it comes to Trapt, again, I ain't got a problem with their musical abilities. I think they're a good damn band. I think the problem was, and we can all agree, was when 2020 rolled around, that is when it all started. Like I said before, I don't remember a lot of heat coming Trapt's way before all those issues in 2020. Now, I tried really hard to think of it. Aside from people maybe not liking their music or not being their taste, I think that we pinpointed that is when it all started. That's when it went to a level of like, holy shit, these guys are hated. But was it really those guys? I think it all revolves around their lead singer, Chris Brown. And again, this is the United States. I live in the United States. So I'm not going to condemn nobody for taking full advantage of their rights. But as having my own rights, I can completely disagree or choose to block that out and have nothing to do with it. And in a sense, I think that's what I did with certain comments he made. And I think that's what a lot of the world did with certain comments he made. I mean, 2020 had to be the year. Had to be the year, I guess you could say, the beginning of the end for Trapt's career possibly, their image possibly. But again, I don't hear a lot about him now in a positive light. In fact, I don't hear much about him at all. I just know one thing. If I go back to the year 2002, where I was in my life, if I could turn on a radio and I heard Headstrong, I didn't mind. I could bob my head. If I heard Still Frame, I love that song. Don't know why. Something about the vocals, the instrumentals, and the way it all flows together. Sometimes you just have that song where you hear something that nobody else does, whether it's just a little part of the guitar or certain parts, it's just like it hums with you. I got a lot of songs like that, but Still Frame by Trapt was one of them. So again, I can say one thing. Thank you, Trapt, for that song. Here's the thing I think people need to realize. We can say our opinions. We live in the United States. We got our rights. Just like I can watch one of my professional sports teams, let's say football, for example, the NFL. Guy drops a pass, costs us the game. I'm probably going to yell at that TV and say, you suck, you suck. And I'll probably yell it as many times until I'm satisfied. But I'm going to be mad. But really, does he suck? He made it to the NFL. That's like top of the top professional leagues. And he don't really suck. He's way better than I am. But I can say that through a TV because I'm angry. Just like music, I can say Trapt sucks because their lead singer put his foot in his mouth and stressed all of his political beliefs and personal beliefs, and not a lot of people agreed with it. That's going to affect the band. But does he really suck? Does the band really suck? I don't think they suck that bad. In fact, I think they're pretty good musicians, and I think that's when people need to realize we need to separate our opinions on people as opposed to their profession, because you might hate somebody's guts. Doesn't mean they're horrible at what they do. Can everybody do me a favor, please? Drop in the comment section what you think about the band Trapt. I'm gonna be honest. Put all of what happened in 2020 aside. Do we think they're good musicians? Me personally, yes, I do think they're good musicians. I think they would not be where they're at today, whether good or bad in people's minds, if they didn't have talent musically. From the beginning, there was some talent there. They took advantage of it, they got signed by a big label, and here they are today. It's the same old story with a lot of bands. Not a lot of people last as long as Trapt has. So you got to give them credit. Musically, they're talented. The guys know how to play instruments. The guy knows how to sing. I mean, they got it all there. They got all the ingredients to make a badass pizza. But sometimes, you pour a little soy sauce or put some sardines on there. It's not going to be a good pizza, at least for me. And everybody, do me a favor. Look at everything for what it is. Try not to be so judgmental and jump on board a boat because everybody else is jumping on it. Don't be a sheep. Don't follow. Do not be a follower. I'm not saying you have to be a leader and lead a person across a desert for 3 years, but I'm saying, can you be one that stands on their own? Can you be your own person? You got to be. Now, I think a lot of the hate for Trapt is because people want to jump on that bandwagon. Same thing with the hate for Nickelback and a lot of other situations. They're not bad. I refuse to believe that. You can tell me how bad they suck, but I'm not going to listen to you because they wouldn't have got where they're at if they were bad, if they were horrible. But they might not be your cup of tea. They're not mine, but I'm not going to say they suck. I'm going to say some of their lead singer, Chris Brown's beliefs should have been kept to his own, but he lives in America, so he can voice those opinions. Again, thank you everybody for watching. I think Trapt is a decent musical band, but I think they just put themselves in a bad position. But sometimes we do that in life. But we can all redeem it by doing the right thing next. Do the next right thing and redeem yourself. Again, thank you everybody for watching. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones. Have a good time, live your life, go for something big. I'm out.